Hey, what is up YouTube? This is BurningNerd225 and I thought I'd bring you my update on my vampire deck. Now I know it's been a while since I've done my vampire deck, and I know I told you a long time ago that I would do an update on my vampire deck, but I've been really busy with life and whatnot, so I know you'll understand on that. But, I lost my copy of Damp-Haired Vampire Sheridan, but that's okay. And, my Topologic Bomber Dragon also went missing, but I'm trying to look for that. But until then, I try to throw something else together for a deck profile for you guys. So, but I still have the rest of my cards, and I was trying to throw something else together. But now my vampire deck is now basically more link-based, which is still pretty good, in my opinion. Because the vampire deck can mainly be link-based. You don't have to run synchros or anything like that. You can make it mainly link-based. And without further ado, let's get started. Of course, and I also made some changes to the main deck, but, some main changes, not mostly. Start off with the mains. 3 familiar, I didn't change that ratio. 3 retainer, I didn't change that ratio either. Now I did do a lot of trading with my friends in Maryland. So I got 3 Shuanari Solitaire. So I was able to get my hands on 3 finally, so I can do a lot of combos, so I could bring out the main zombie tuner that you're about to see next, which is 2 Unizombie, which is the ratio I decided to go for. 3 Shuanari Solitaire and 2 Unizombie, which is the ratio I decided to run. And I think this ratio works perfectly. Next up, 2 Vampire Sorcerer. Now I know you're going to be saying to me in the comments that this card sucks, you shouldn't run it, but you saw one of the cards I had in my extra deck was Nightmare Cerberus. I also run Nightmare Phoenix, and I also run Twin Twisters in my main deck. There are ways of how I can discard this card and banish it so I can gain the additional normal summons, so it really doesn't matter. So its additional summoning effect will always go off. So I think this card is good in the main deck. Next up, 2 Vampire Fraulein. This card is like the honest of the deck for vampires. You give up life points in multiples of 100, maximum 3,000, and that zombie type monster gains that much attack points. Get me thinking, why would you give up 3,000 to make your monster that strong? Well, it will make sure that your monster can trample over anything, which would be good. You're about to see one of the main spells in the deck that can make you basically immortal. That I'll show you soon. And it'll mean that the life point cost you paid with Fraulein will basically mean nothing. Vampire Scarlet Scourge. Now, Scarlet Scourge is the main key combos of the deck, because you pay 1,000 life points when you start one special summon. You can special summon a vampire monster from your graveyard, except for him. You can only use the effect once per turn, which is why I only run 2. 1 Vampire Grace. Now, you pay 2,000 life points to special summon her. When a level 5 or zombie type monster is special summoned to your side to feel the effect of a zombie monster. But I mainly just special summon her with the effect of Scarlet Scourge, or Book of Life, or Monster Reborn. Next up, 1 Vampire Red Baron. You know what he does. You pay 1,000 life points to swap a vampire monster with one of your opponents, and so it's basically a creature swap, which is basically a really good card. one Shadow Vampire. And what he does, for the special summoning effect, special summon any vampire monster from your deck. Which is what you need to get your main key combos going. And the last monster of the deck, Red Eye Zombie Dragon, which is the special tech. I think you saw this in my previous deck profile, and I like this card because he's a really good card. He allows you to steal your opponent's monsters like Vampire Scarlet Scores, and you could summon them easily just by tributing only one monster. And Nightmare Goblin can allow you to do that easily, because when I link summon him, and Nightmare Goblin allows me to do so many summons. Nightmare Goblin allows me to get him out easily. Oh, I nearly forgot to mention, with Vampire Familiar, Vampire Retainer, Vampire Familiar allows me to search my monsters, and Vampire Retainer allows me to search my vampire spells and traps. But you pay 500 to search for them for each one of these. You gotta remember that. You pay 500 for each one. You pay life points in this deck, but it really doesn't matter. Life points really don't matter that much at all this game anymore. Next up, onto the spells. The main change to the deck, 3 Zombie World. I decided to go with the Zombie World package now, which is very effective, because now with Red Eye Zombie Dragon, that's why I decided to run it. Even when I didn't have Zombie World, Red Eye Zombie Dragon was still good. You know, like when I had Vampire Sucker and Red Eye Zombie Dragon was still effective with the deck anyway, but I decided to run Zombie World anyway. Because Zombie World is still a good deck, and it slowed down True Draco by a ton. Because when I went up against my friend's True Draco deck in Virginia, I beat it just by getting this card out, by going first, and he couldn't do jack when I had this card out. He didn't even have anything to pop it in his hand. He just had to set his entire hand, and he couldn't even bring out his Seed. He couldn't bring out his Majesty Maiden. He couldn't do jack. Next up, 3 Terraforming, obvious, search it. Next up, the main continuous spell, which is what you would search for, Vampire's Domain. This is what you need to search for in the deck, because once per turn you pay 500 life points during your main phase, you gain an additional normal summon for a vampire monster. So basically, you normal summon your familiar attributed, summon any vampire monster you have in your hand, which is very good because you summon your Scarred Scourge, pay 1,000, bring back your vampire familiar, pay 500, then you search again, then you keep on going and going and going with your combos. It's just so good when you use Vampire Familiar to summon Link Kuriboh. You see where I'm going with this? You can do so many combos. You could search for Vampire Sorcerer, discard Sorcerer, summon Vampire Familiar from the graveyard. You could do a Link play. You could do so many Link plays. I just gave you guys an idea that you can do. Next up, 2 Called by the Grave to stop hand traps. This card is actually kind of fitting for the deck, because you know vampires, and the card is called Called by the Grave, and look, it's kind of like a zombie arm, so look at it, it's kind of cool for the deck, plus it stops hand traps. Next up, Twin Twister for spell and trap destruction. This is mainly for going second. The deck is mainly for going second, but you know, I just want to run this in my main deck just in case. 1 Monster Reborn, special summon my monsters or steal my opponents if I pop them. 1 Book of Life. I like this card because it revives it. Oh, sorry. It revives my zombie monsters, and when I revive my monsters from the graveyard with this card, I get banish 1 of my opponent's monsters from the graveyard, which is very good. Next up, the last spell, 1 Foolish Burial. Now I don't want run for one, I decided to take that out. But you know what Foolish Burial does? It helps you get on my main key combos in the graveyard. That's it for spells, and the last 3 cards of the deck. Which is, sorry, I had to turn the camera away. I was stretching out my back. Last 3 cards of the main deck, triple Vampire Domination. I showed you this card before. You know what it does for the counter trap. You can go to my last deck profile to learn, so you can learn what it does. But if you want me to explain it, when a spell trap or monster effect is activated while I control a vampire monster, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. If it was a monster card, you gain life points equal to its original attack. You can only activate 1 Vampire Domination once per turn. So basically, this is just like a Solemn Judgment, but you can only use it if you control a vampire monster. It's only a hard once per turn. Now, you would want to run 2, but I prefer to run 3 so I can have it in my opening hand. Now, it would be a brick, but I don't care. You want to see it in your hand stacks. You can have at least 1 negate to stop one of your opponent's cards. Next up for the extra deck, I decided to run 2 Nightmare Cerberus to make it a link-based deck. Because when I run 2 Nightmare Cerberus, it's a good card for popping. Next up, I got 3 Link Revo, which is from the Codebreaker Structure deck. The common, sits down poor. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, which is what I got from Flames of Destruction. I was able to pull 1. I was lucky. 1 Paraco Talker, which is from the Paraco Link Structure deck. And I decided to run this because I thought it was a good card to try. 1 Vampire Sucker, it's the only one I have. And I already showed you this before, but I'll show you it right here real quick so that you can see what it does. Okay. 1 Nightmare Goblin, you know what this does, it gives you the additional normal summon. 1 Proxy Dragon for protection, and 1 Wee Witch's Apprentice. I decided to cut 1 out to put in different cards. Alright, so that is it for my vampire deck. I hope you enjoyed it. And, oh, in case you haven't noticed, this is my My Little Pony Villains playmat. I use this playmat when I play my vampire deck because I think it's fitting. So, but other than that, I hope you enjoyed seeing it. And I hope you enjoyed the update. So, let me know in the comments what you think. Excuse me, I might have a cold. I think there's a vampire running around. Good thing I got garlic. Pun. So let me know in the comments what you think. And this is Burner TT5 signing out.